Yo, what's up? I'm Chillmonger. Earlier, well, yesterday, during the middle of our Council of Creators stream, Chainsaw Reacts broke some news.
This just got announced officially a few minutes ago. Fresh off the 6th to HBO,
Breaking
the
news.
Penguin DC Studios has officially greenlit a feature film centered around Clayface.
Yeah, I heard
With
about
Mike
that
Flanagan.
a couple weeks ago.
They better have a high
Whoa.
budget for special
What?
effects.
Mike
Before
Flanagan.
we really get into this, there's just something I noticed. He gave us Gods and Monsters Chapter 1, and that was January and almost 2 years ago. I don't think he's sticking to that because this was not announced, and we're seeing this get announced, and things from Chapter 1 they're not in development, right? So I think we should just ignore everything James Gunn gave us back in 2023. I gave my little 1-2 take over there. You can go to the first hour of that stream to hear it from me. And then today I brought it up with Pantheon. We talked about a little more. I will show you that clip of this stream here, packaged just for you. Thank you for clicking thumbs up before I even asked. For those of you who are going to do it now, you don't count. Like, I appreciate you. I still want you to do it. We're going to start with Josh's take here, but what I'm getting at when I ask him this question is, where's the black representation in DCU? Waller is being canceled. All we got is Lanterns, and that's a TV show. How many movies? How committed are you? How much do we got to wait until we get that? Whether it's Static, a Green Lantern film of Jon Stewart, Mr. Terrific. Like, are we gonna just sit tight-lipped and watch a Clayface movie happen? But nothing's happening with Mr. Terrific? So that's what I'm getting at. Does he do 10 movies? Marvel did 18 movies until Black Panther. The clock is on for DC. That's what I'm getting at. And I would like to ask you that. Leave a comment right now. If DC does 5 movies like they said they would do with Chapter 1, are you okay? If the 6th movie is a black movie, you go, yeah, they're doing enough. 1 out of every 6. I'm satisfied with that. Would you say you're okay with that? I would take that because those are big budget movies. Like, how often do you get a $150 million budget? And you know what the other 5 movies will be like? Batman and Superman and who knows? Supergirl, we know that. Millie Alcock has been cast. So that's the question for you in the comments. Josh.
You have this little Marvel review boycott until Marvel can get it right. They got to recast T'Challa. They got to do Blade properly. They've just done so much wrong with black characters. But they've got so much wrong that you're like, all right, I got to put my foot down. When does your foot come down for James Gunn's DCU?
Technically, it hasn't even started yet, so it can't yet. It can't now.
Here's my beef. In January of 2023, I got Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, okay? Here's the slate. Yeah. And now today, we're hearing that he's going to do a Clayface? That wasn't announced in your Gods and Monsters. We don't even have Supergirl yet, but we're hearing about a Clayface coming?
Yeah, it's a little unnecessary. It's a little crazy.
A Clayface movie officially underway at DC Studios with Mike Flanagan writing. Fresh off the success of HBO's Penguin, DC has officially greenlit a feature film centered around Clayface, the shape-shifting Batman villain from a script written by the Dr. Sleep filmmaker, Mike Flanagan. Who watched that, Dr. Sleep? Crickets. The plot details are scarce, but filming is expected to begin early next year. That's nuts to me.
Early next year? No.
Yes. It's jumping ahead of Waller. It's jumping ahead of
Batman and Robin.
There's so much that he's not going to forward anymore. Like, how does this beat Batman? What? You have money for Clayface, but not money for Batman? What are the plans? I don't get it. I'm lost.
My issue is that we're jumping into too many characters that people don't know instead of introducing all the people that we care about from DC. Why aren't we getting like a Martian Manhunter? We're obviously getting Lantern, Superman, maybe I guess a Batman and Robin story, but like the thing that's out now is Creature Commandos. Who gives a shit about bootleg Suicide Squad,
right?
Or bootleg Thunderbolts? Just saying. I think we're rushing this thing a little too much with characters that nobody knows or cares about. That's all.
I completely agree. You know, this is going to be a topic later on in the show, but I think if I'm James Gunn, if I'm DC, or I'm any fucking studio, I'm looking at one, whatever IP we have, but then I'm looking at the failure, the abysmal failure that I have been calling out since Morbius of Sony. I would look at that and say, okay, they tried to build an entire universe not using the franchise's main character, and it did not work for them. So here James Gunn is, 2 years after he sat up there in front of that green screen and told us what he was going to do with his slate. Now DC has been fractured and it's felt fractured. Well, newsflash, James, it's still fractured. And you getting on Twitter every fucking day trying to disprove this or to prove that or to argue this or to promote that, it doesn't make it any better. James Gunn needs to focus solely on Superman, making sure that Superman is going to be what it needs to be. Because from what we're hearing right now is Superman is going to be shown to a select group of critics. It's not going to, the trailer's not going to come in front of Mufasa like it originally was. It's been delayed. It's going to show to a select group of critics. And a lot of people are saying that that's so James can control the narrative. So that when those headlines come out, it's going to be saying things like, oh, Superman is this, and James Gunn wows with that, and Corn Sweat is the real, blah blah blah, all those things that it's gonna be, and people are gonna sit there and eat it up and eat it up and eat it up. Fandango put out a report from people for the most anticipated films in 2025. Superman is number 8.
Ooh, 8. That's still all right, but
it's
not.
okay. It's okay, but it takes us back to that conversation that we've all been having about which one is everybody more excited for, the Fantastic Four or Superman? If I'm James Gunn, and we haven't seen a trailer, we haven't seen anything yet, I'm shitting. I'm like, he needs to. Superman shouldn't be 8. It shouldn't be sitting down there with fucking what was it? They was sitting down there the accountant too. What?
I definitely thought you were about to say Snow White.
No, I think Snow White was higher. So it's like
Spider-Verse?
No, it was something else down there with it.
Spider-Verse isn't confirmed 2025, is it?
They can delay it again another year?
Maybe.
It's not confirmed for 2025 any longer. But the whole thing with James and all that stuff, he's got to figure that out. So this whole thing, to round it back to Clayface, you're sitting there, James Gunn, and you've rebooted an entire universe, and you have gods at your fingertips, gods, and you chose Clayface.
That's what happened.
So no, I'm not. I don't give a shit about this film.
Yeah, brother, you've got a whole Justice League that you need to build towards. What are you doing with all this other random shit?
It's crazy.
And what does it mean for the shit you announced 2 years ago? Because the slate is still the slate. He was asked about James Mangold and Swamp Thing, and James Mangold said, like, one of those answers where he doesn't really answer the question. Waller, he said that's not creatively where I want it to be anymore. Booster Gold, I think we heard Camille Nanjiani was going to play Booster Gold. Remember that rumor. Did you guys hear that rumor?
Yeah,
I feel like I heard that.
So race swap there. Everything he's talked about to start, I don't think has been solidified. I don't think it's concrete. I think he spoke too soon. We know he spoke too soon because it was starting to affect Aquaman's box office and Blue Beetle's box office and Flash and everything else. He spoke too soon, and it means nothing. This slate is not a slate. There's no dates on it. There's no promises here. It was just wishful thinking. He did say, though, that's not my whole chapter 1. There's still more.
Gods and monsters. Now, what I'm about to tell you is a part of the first chapter. It's not the entire first chapter.
But you're doing Clayface now. Like, if I saw something coming after Swamp Thing and after what's on the right side, Paradise Lost. Okay, if I saw Swamp Thing and Paradise Lost and then he does Clayface, I'd be okay with it. But he's making things jump order. Clayface, really? That's filming next year, early next year. I'm just gonna ignore everything you told me about Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters.
I hope this is true.
Well, see, I've seen that rumor going around. Several different people have been trying to say that it's going to be in the Reevesverse. But even if it's in the Reevesverse, I mean, maybe. And the reason I say maybe, and I if it's in the Reevesverse, even there, I don't care about it. But the reason I say maybe it's in the Reevesverse is because there's still the the back and forth right now of what they're going to do with Batman in this universe. Is it gonna be Robert Pattinson, or is it going to be someone completely different? And I'm telling you, it's gonna be Pattinson. Zaslav wants that. At the end of the day, Matt Reeves can want what he wants in one hand and have the shit in the other. Because at the end of the day, people, because I've been seeing people say, well, that's not contractual. Contracts can be broken. I mean, this is Hollywood. What are we talking about? Contracts are broken every day in Hollywood. So if you don't think that James Gunn and company are going to find a way to finagle their way around, or give Reeves some type of something, some incentive or something for him to bring his Batman into their universe, I think that's going to happen. So it's a possibility that happens. And I saw somebody else, Stamina said, is this going to be an Elseworld thing? Is that even still a thing over there anymore? Elseworlds, I don't know. So when he said 2 years ago it felt fractured, well, James, it's still fractured.
Yeah.
It's still fractured.
Well, it's hard to create a new DC world with everything that Matt Reeves has got going on is working.
Yeah.
It's working pretty well too.
It is working pretty well. It's working pretty well. I saw Robert Pattinson had said, he was. This is normies for you. But when I say normies, it's not like a negative thing. I'm just saying this is how, like, people aren't paying attention to the shit we're paying attention to like that. Somebody asked him, why'd you quit acting? Since you haven't seen you since Twilight. And he said, oh, I'm back.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, like, Matt Reeves, if he can get that thing really going, because Pattinson said he thinks that he probably likely could end his career on Batman with how long it's going to take to do everything.
Oh, so he sounds like he's actually encouraged to do more. He wants to do the job, and he's not going to be there just because they're paying him. He wants to be Batman.
I don't know that he really sounded like he wanted to. And really, I couldn't get a sound from it because it was an article. I didn't actually hear him say it. But the way I read it was like, well, I'm going to be doing this shit till I retire because it's taking so long.
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't all right.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Because when does this 2 come out? 2026? And when
if no delays happen or anything crazy?
Yeah.
So they got to be probably rushing this thing. That's the thing that's making money over there. So